The championship season is over. It is time to look back at the 1 to 24 predictions I made last July before a ball was kicked. Right, let's start with the good and the teams I had in the right place. Work our way through the surprises all the way to those clubs I was absolutely miles out in predicting. I'm pleased to report a healthy group of 6 teams where I'm actually really happy with the predictions, and 3 bang on: Sheffield United, Millwall and Reading. I thought the Blades would hold course from last season and land in second. That's exactly what they did. I also thought Millwall would just miss the playoffs in 8th, although, as you're about to find, with some pretty different teams ahead of them. I did have Reading getting relegated in 22nd spot. I didn't forecast that suspended 6-point penalty coming into play, but the rest of my reasoning was pretty sound. Along with my 3 bang-on predictions, here comes 3 just 1 place out. I thought Swansea would progress up into 9th. They were actually 1 place lower in 10th. Similarly, Preston, I thought would be just outside the top half in 13th. They were just inside it in 12th. Now, I did have Middlesbrough in 3rd. They ended up 1 lower in 4th. But it is probably right to acknowledge that that was with Chris Wilder, not following a horrendous start and a big turnaround under a new manager in Michael Carrick. Right, here's a few that are surprises, but I'm not actually too ashamed of. Bristol City, well, they finished 3 places higher than I expected they would in 14th. Luton, absolutely brilliant. I did say that they'd improved their squad, but honestly, I thought the wealthier teams would form a bit of a glass ceiling to stop Luton getting into the playoffs. Absolutely not. Highest ranked playoff team, 3rd spot, 4 places higher than I'd anticipated. Burnley, look, honestly, that was a complete guess. It was a totally new team. I thought they would be in the top 6, in 6th, but they blew us all away with a 101-point season. So I am 5 places off with the Clarets, comfortable champions. Who would have seen it happening the way it did, though? And how about this one? So pleased to be wrong about this. I put Rotherham bottom after the sales in the summer, and honestly, if I'd have known Paul Warne wasn't going to be there about a month later, I would have doubled down on that. Well done to the Millers. Very pleased to be 5 places out on that. They finished in 19th. Also, well done to Birmingham. I thought they would be relegated to this season, given all that ownership nonsense we were getting going into the season. Novice Championship manager as well in John Eustace. They were 6 places higher than I forecast, up there in 17th. Now, if I had 2 teams going down that didn't, then who would be the 2 sides I said would survive that ultimately went down? Well, both 3 places out. I had Wigan, powered by Liam Richardson, surviving in 21st. That didn't work out. They were bottom. Also, I had Blackpool surviving in 20th. They ended up going down in 23rd. I did think Cardiff would be involved in the bottom 6th in 18th. It was even worse, actually. They were 3 places closer to the drop in 21st. All of those clubs preposterously had 3 managers across this ridiculous second season. Don't worry, we're getting to the real clangers, okay? I was also let down by 4 teams who I had 4 places higher than they actually finished. My tactic of just throwing Stoke in the middle in 12th to end my struggles predicting them didn't work. They wound up in 16th. And Hull, well, that was pretty much a massive guess as well, with Arveladze and the big summer spending spree. I had the Tigers 11th. They ended up in 15th. I think I probably got QPR closer than most in 16th. I thought drop-off coming. I didn't like the way they finished 21-22, but for them to be 4 places lower in 20th is pretty shocking. And West Brom, just underwhelming again, the Baggies. I had them getting into the playoffs in 5th place. They were 4 lower down in 9th. Right, here we go then. Let's look at my top 3 overachievers and underachievers. Look, we'll do the overachievers first, as at least I can get some kind of joy out of that. 9 places out above where I said they would be were Coventry City. I guessed that they would be selling 1 or more of those key assets, Hamer, Gyökeres, O'Hare, and dropping 3 places down the table. They kept all the assets and went up 7 places in the table into the playoffs. Superb stuff. I had them 14th. They finished 5th. And that is not the only playoff success story. It was quite hard for me placing Sunderland, a big club returning from League One. I went conservative in 15th. They finished 6th and joined Coventry in the playoffs. Once again, I was 9 places out. My biggest overachiever this season, 12 places and half a division above my prediction, Blackburn Rovers. I thought, after a poor finish to last season, manager being replaced by an EFL debutant and some playing departures that I didn't like, that I have a bit of a gamble on a big drop down to 19th for the Rovers. After all those weird metrics in the first half of the season, I thought I wouldn't be miles off, but fair play to John Dahl Thomason. They were pretty much in the top 6 all season, right until the end, and dropped in to 7th, 12 places above where I said they'd be. And here they are, the top 3 underachievers. Firstly, Watford. Not good. I had the Hornets in 4th. They finished 7 lower than that in 11th. So much talent there. And despite being promised backing for the new manager, Rob Edwards, we got the normal Watford chaos. Even in spite of that chaos, they're normally up there challenging, but really poor for a Year 1 parachute team. My second biggest underachievers were Huddersfield. Now look, a lot of you did tell me that they were going to go down like a deck of cards after a summer exodus, and to be fair, if you told me that, you were right, and it did look like they were going to be relegated for most of the season, even after the return of the old master, Neil Warnock. But we all know a brilliant surge to safety followed. That surge helps me a little bit, but I still underestimated the severity of the fall, and I had them in 10th. Huddersfield were 8 lower in 18th. And drum roll please, my worst underachiever was my predicted champions, Norwich City. I thought, here we go again, the second tier masters and recent 2-time champions. I thought they'd do it again. The combination of a squad and a manager, pretty much all of them been promoted before, and the financial power of being a Year 1 parachute team. It looked like a perfect recipe. No, Dean Smith out at Christmas, a poor run-in under David Wagner, and it looks like a bit of a hard reset needed again at Norwich. I was half the table out. I said first, Norwich were 13th. There we go, that's my reaction to the predictions. The impossible job produces the usual mixed bag. I went with the money, and I think the failure of those 3 parachute teams, Norwich, Watford and West Brom, all in the middle. I had them all in the top 6. That scuppered a lot of the top of my table. Fair play to Coventry and Sunderland for slipping on up into that gap. Other than that, not terrible, although my big Blackburn gamble really backfired. Get involved down there in the comments. Those excellent, lovely grown-up people who want to discuss the surprises and why things might have changed from what we thought before the season. I really look forward to chatting with you. Those people who like to take being wise after the event just a little bit too far. Not a good look, guys. And for those of you interested in hopping back in the time machine to see exactly what I actually said pre-season, click up here to see the source of this video and my nightmares, my 22-23 Championship 1-24 video.